Hello, friends. Let's talk about the last few absolutely nightmarish weeks at Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, let's go from the beginning. First, the news was we will announce a manager before the end of the season. We're confident of that. That's what Alistair Gold was told. That's what all the journalists were told, and that sent out to the media. We have a few candidates we're looking at. We're going to announce them soon. Don't you worry. The next successor is going to come. Then, we got a little end of the season letter, which read a little something like, I screwed up. Me, Daniel Levy, I screwed up. I take ownership. And also, I realize what we have to do. We have to change where we were going. Because, the last appointment was a win-now manager who, his previous successes had been at clubs with very different profiles than us. And so, maybe we shifted our profile a bit. And you know what? Me, Daniel Levy, I want to go back to the roots of Tottenham. I want to go back and get a young, passionate, kind of an experienced, innovative, tactical revolutionary person who can grow with the club and will nourish the youth and etc etc etc. And I was like, okay, great. And there's a few people I can point you to that really fit that mold. A few weeks passed. Well, actually, no, end of the season. 7 to 10 days, we'll hear who the next manager is. They have a strong candidate. Don't worry. Absolutely nothing. No news. At the end of that cycle, Mauricio Pochettino. He might come back. Just imagine the scenes. Just imagine, he turns down PSG, says, hey, you guys weren't going to treat me well. Yeah, I don't like the hierarchy. I don't like this, and I'm going to come back to Tottenham by putting my papers on the desk in front of the PSG chairman and saying, I quit and I'm going back to Tottenham because that's where my heart is. Turned out Pochettino isn't that kind of guy, and he is going to burn bridges. So then the next day, we learned about Antonio Conte, Mr. Italiano. And that always seemed like a far-out rumor, like that could never happen. Former Chelsea manager, always has to have a big bag wherever he goes. Always has to have his way with signings and constantly falls out with chairman. And that always seemed outlandish. Until Italian media and also English media was saying there is real interest here. And actually, we're going to get, like Antonio Conte is almost confirmed, that we've had positive talks and we're in the final stages of negotiation. He's coming to London, etc., etc. It all looked like it was happening. And then we realized, oh, wait, you want over $100 million to spend? Actually, we don't do that at Tottenham. You're going to have to find another club. Sorry, bye. Or it went something like that. It must have been more Antonio Conte being like, I want 20 staff members. I want assurances that we will buy this player, this player, this player, and I want full control over these things. And Daniel Levy was like, not that much. And so that's where things fell apart. And you know what? That's perfectly fine because it was never going to work. Look, Antonio Conte is, I guess we're caught up to the present. The present is we have no freaking idea who the next manager is going to be, and we're starting from step one. If you want a full recap, go watch Alistair Gold's most recent video because it's absolutely amazing. But now, just looking back, I convinced myself, I was like, yeah, no, I can see Conte would work. He would work, yeah, he's like Mourinho, but better. because, like, yes, he does actually play good football. Yes, he has had some success with youth players before. And, maybe he actually was wanted to, like, try something new and try a challenge and etc. No, it was never going to work. And the main reason is, if we had been at the peak of the Poch era, and, well, maybe around the time we were hiring Mourinho, I think Conte maybe could have worked if he wanted to come. But he was in the middle of Inter Milan malarkey. But because we had just come off of the Jose Mourinho project, experiment, whatever you want to call it, and that massively failed, we didn't really have the pool to get Antonio Conte the assurances, because we need someone to build up from scratch again, really. And I don't know why. I just don't understand the situation of really putting it out there to the press, really putting out there, oh, we're going for this guy, when pretty much every reasonable fan was like, how are we funding this? Like, how does that realistically work? Because, I mean, we already spent a lot more money than we typically do, and, yes, a lot of people want us to operate as a big club and spend tons and tons of money on players, but I think most people know we need a rebuild. We need a painful rebuild, as Poch famously said, where we sell a lot of players, maybe at cut value, and just start again with a new fresh team under a new project with a new manager. That is kind of what I expected when the freaking end of season note was gone through with Daniel Levy. But no, he chased this freaking shiny object again and was like, ooh, but maybe we can get like a trophy this next year. You failed, right? You completely screwed that up by appointing Jose Mourinho. Yes, the idea of Jose Mourinho could have worked out 10 years ago, but in the modern era, with these players, just doesn't work. And he tried to make up his losses with Antonio Conte, another former Chelsea manager who has the same freaking profile, really, of like win now and only going to be here for 2 years. Just cut your losses and say, you know what, let's stick to the original plan, and let's stick to the list of managers that Steve Hitchen brought to me, and say, okay, let's go after one of these guys. We could easily get them. Instead, no, we've embarrassed ourselves on an international stage and been like, oh, we're going to get Antonio Conte, we're going to be a thing again, Tottenham's going to be back again, look at this 3-5-2 sexy. And then, oh, Conte wanted promises that we weren't willing to give. That's embarrassing. And now we're stuck in a situation where Fabio Paratici is our new director of football. And look, I actually like a few of the things he's done. You asked me what has he done. What I actually mean is I like a few of his ideas. I've watched a video with Wojciech Szczesny that was on YouTube. I'll link it below so you can watch it as well. It's like a 20-minute video. It's very good. I like him. I like his ideas. I like how he analyzes players. And also there was a Sky Italia article written about him as well. He seems like a good guy, and he seems like he'll get the job done. The problem is, right now, we're starting from scratch again. And we were promised a freaking manager before the end of the season, then in the next 7 to 10 days, then in the next week, then here we are. We're in a freaking new month, and we're about to enter the summer transfer window with no manager and no idea of how the club is going forward, no idea of like who the players are that the manager wants to keep around. It's just a nightmare. It really, really is. If we had just stuck to our humble expectations and said, okay, let's appoint Potter, Eric Ten Hag, or whoever, it would be fine. But no, we chased the shiny object again. We wanted to go back and get Poch naively, or get Antonio Conte. And now it set us back a few steps, because now, yes, we have Fabio Paratici, who can analyze players and, identify people who he thinks are good. But the problem is, when you don't have a manager, how are you supposed to know which tactical style to look for your players, right? Like, yes, there are signings that are good regardless of whoever the manager is, but it would be really, really helpful to know if we're going to play a 3 at the back, a 4 at the back, and what positions the manager really thinks are most important and what types of players he wants. And then you say, okay, here are the types of players I want. Go do with that what you will, and then the DOF goes and does that. The problem is we just don't have a feckin' manager. I'm so mad. I have never been staunchly Levy out before, lead the revolution. I'm always more fans in than Levy out. However, the way this has been run is absolutely ridiculous. I just want a manager now, not Martinez. I just want a manager. I just want Graham Potter. Please show these. There's so many entitled Tottenham supporters being oh, Daniel Levy failing us again by not backing Antonio Conte. It's not a matter of not backing Antonio Conte. It's a point. It's not. It's setting the expectation at a different bar than it needs to be. We are not Manchester City. That's not the type of appointment we make. And we went for it again, stupidly, and now we look stupid again. I just want another project. I just want a future. That would be good. I've seen so many people upset about the current Tottenham situation. I'm upset. I'm really, really upset. I think we have a good group of players going forward. I don't think Kane is leaving unless Manchester City do something absolutely outrageous. But, my God, just get a competent manager. The two are on the table, right? The two that I think most people will be perfectly okay with. Okay, maybe people won't be okay with Potter. But Eric Ten Hag has the perfect CV for this job, and it seems like he's always been third choice. And what does that say when we go after two managers very publicly? We failed to get both of them, and then we come back to Eric Ten Hag, that emoji, can you please, come manage Tottenham? He's gonna be dude, it's too late now. You asked me 4 weeks ago, and I was maybe. And now that ship has sailed. So maybe we have to compromise and get a lesser manager now, and that's again another failing. I'm so mad. Just give us the frickin' thing you promised, and we wouldn't be mad. The way we've been jumping around, it really does feel like he has just been offering us, random things on a plate, and we've been accepting most all of them, but he just never delivers any of them. It's it's like a waiter coming up to you, hey, would you like some bread? And you're yeah, I would like some bread. And then he's okay, good. And then he goes back to the kitchen and brings out a plate of salmon. And he's hey, would you like a plate of salmon? And we're yeah, I would like a plate of salmon. And then he goes back into the kitchen, and then he brings out, hey, would you like a dessert? And then we're yeah, we would really like some dessert. Oh, by the way, where's that bread? What happened to that? He's we failed to get it. It's expired now. Bye. Sorry. That's what it feels like. And God, I just hate it. What I think we need to do is just go for Potter or Eric Ten Hag, go flat out, pay whatever they want, and just say, hey, identify some targets and let's start again. Yes, we might have a year or two where we're not like absolutely one of the top clubs in England, but that's what we deserve because we tried to go for it all, high risk, high reward, and we failed, and now we're here. It's so frustrating. Anyways, I could rant about this for hours. But now we've just, I don't even know who our transfer targets are because we don't have a manager. This is one of my last videos in this home. I hope you've enjoyed all the content that I've made in this space. Hopefully there's some new beginnings, some better beginnings in the next week. I'm moving back up to Seattle, if you want to know. And hopefully I can continue doing all the stuff I've been loving doing here. Thank you all so much for your support. I've had some insane numbers that I kind of got overwhelmed by, if I'm honest, and may have gotten too overwhelmed. I just there was a point where I just stopped making content. And I'm sorry about that, but hopefully you're sticking around and you're enjoying it. Yeah, no, that's the current situation at Tottenham. Maybe I'll make one more video before I go back, but Jesus, lads, I have no clue. I have no clue if even Paratici is confirmed yet because, we thought Conte was all but done, barring a disaster. And here we are. But yeah, anyways, I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to get some Pizza Hut because I played soccer for 2 hours out of frustration yesterday. And I am hungry, so I hope you take care of yourself. Get a good treat. Go hug a cat, hug a dog, hug a hamster. I don't know. Take care of yourself. We're not, playing football, but I think this is actually worse. But yeah, anyways, that'll be it for this video. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I will be doing freaking transfer windows when we actually appoint someone. I was getting ready for the Conte appointment. I'm putting together a video, but we all know how that went. So as soon as we do anything official, I'll talk more about it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.